Director's Cut add-on for Borderlands 3 launches March 18th. More than 18 months later, after the release of this game, we are talking about content, and it's good, Fran, can you? Against the most fearsome of all Varkids. Her name has long been whispered in blood-soaked legend. Now, Hemovorus, the Invincible, has awoken. This colossal raid boss has made her lair on Pandora, and only the fiercest big game hunters have a chance of kicking her chitinous butt in the pursuit of top-tier loot. Better bring some friends to this fight and get ready to get caked in Varkid guts. It's gonna get messy. Scaling works just like it does for takedowns from level 35 on up, but you must complete the main campaign before you can attempt this fight, and you'll need to pay 500 Iridium to unlock that door each time, so be prepared.
That's the point of it, right? It should, especially if you want that Mayhem level 10 gear, it should be very difficult. And originally, right, they were tuned for multiplayer experience, right? So I think I'm going to assume that it's going to be the same case for this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think players are going to love fighting Hemovorus. It's what they've requested, and Gearbox delivered it fully.
Because spoiler free, you've tried this, right?
Yes.
Fran, did you get to try it last night?
Yep.
Okay.
Got to peek at it. It's cool, man. Yeah, I just love bosses. Like, bosses in Borderlands, I think I brought up on the show, are my favorite part. So I knew why, the community was so excited as well, just to get raid bosses, but more bosses. And now this is, a brand new boss experience that you can go out and grind, and it's going to be tough too, it seems. So, we played an earlier version, so we'll see, what the final looks like. But it seems really cool.
Ava is convinced she has a lead on some potentially supernatural slayings and has decided to document her findings in serialized podcast form. Consider yourself her gun-toting co-host as you investigate strange happenings on Pandora, Promethea, Eden 6, and Necrotafeo in search of answers and loot, with the help of some familiar faces. Scour the galaxy to solve a string of murders. Randy Varnell is back. Hello, Randy.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Why did you choose to focus this one on Ava? Right, a character that was there was differences of opinions when the game launched at what people thought of Ava.
Well, we talked about that last time I was with you a year ago when we did one of the very first Borderlands show right after we launched the game. We'd already started to by the way, just to put it out there, we listened to a lot of community feedback. I probably read far more comments and forums and tweets than I should as a game developer, because it can sometimes be a turbulent sea out there. But I super respect our fans. We want to create a game that people love, and we certainly want to create a story and characters that reach out and engage with them. And Ava didn't get there for a lot of people. And we spent a lot of time after launch kind of looking at that and thinking about that. And I know centering this content around Ava is going to bring back some of those questions, like, we don't like Ava as a character. Why would we even do it? And I think a lot of our answer to that is we love Ava as a character, but the game that we released in the main game had some unfortunate cuts along the way that trimmed some parts of Ava that we were seeing behind the scenes that other people haven't been able to experience. And sometimes in all of that hubbub of launch, it just doesn't quite get there. And Borderlands, Mitsu, I really appreciate what you say, because, and Greg, Borderlands really is an unusual narrative challenge, because it is such a great, what I call a gamey game, right? It's a game of stats and guns and really engaging combat and player builds, and it's kind of keeps on giving, and people love to get down deep in that. I'm one of those guys. I love to play Borderlands as well. But it has a reputation for story and humor and character. And sometimes those things can fight one another. Characters can get too chatty, or you can I just want to get this dialogue out of the way so I can get to the mission because I really want to play the game part. And then other times it's not enough. Like, well, I did all this, but it didn't make any sense, and there's no motivation, and I wasn't involved in those decisions. And it's kind of a constant holy grail that we're seeking with the story department to find out where that balance. And what I love about our fans is they are very bold and very correct most of the time about telling when we don't hit something the way it should hit. So a lot of our reason for coming back to Ava here specifically is to round out Ava and hopefully give the players a little bit more time with her in a way that'll help her see some of the things that we see her in a character and her place in the overall story. It's one of the reasons in this DLC, Graham, like we talked about, it literally happens kind of during the timeline of the main mission frame. So if you are playing Borderlands 3 for the first time after we release this DLC with this DLC, you're going to have hopefully a different experience than some of our original fans did, because you're going to be able to see Ava kind of grow. You're going to understand a little bit about her place and how she has questions about her place there too. I think she's a really important character, and we think there's some really good story reasons why you need to do it. But I don't disagree with the fans who said, man, there's some challenges to liking Ava, because she seems to get in and complicate everything we love about some of these other beloved characters like Maya and Tanis and even Lilith, you know, with the ending and all that. So a lot of our motivation was to give more time, not only with Ava, but some other characters. There's a little bit of Lorelei in some of those missions. We get to spend a little bit more time with Clay, who had a series of missions there on Eden 6. So those are some really fun moments too. But Ava really gets to be kind of her teenage spirit here, right? You get to see her. She's caught up in the mystery of what's going on and these murders. She wants to send you to different people. She's trying to kind of express herself through finding these. And in a lot of those conversations, I think it really helps to round out her character in an interesting way. So our hope is that players who didn't like Ava before and come back and give it another shot will understand Ava a little bit more. You may not like Ava. You may not get all the way there. You know, there's a lot that we could do on that. But often what makes the difference with attaching to a character and falling in love with the character and not, they're kind of two big things, right? It's how much time you get to spend with them as a person, but it is also with what types of things you do and how they express themselves to you. And Ava had both of those challenges. One, she was always kind of the whiny, moping teenager in the background in a lot of ways. And you know, every
that was
time
endearing, damn it. That was endearing, people.
Well, for you,
it can be, but for a lot of people, it didn't hit that way, right? And so we wanted to be sure that they get to see all the sides, you know, in those moments where it really matters, and also how she responds. We wanted to show Ava doing something fun and exciting and expressive. She has an agenda. She wants to do something. She's not always just experiencing, you know, the later stages of teen angst back in her cabin on Sanctuary. She has things that she enjoys. She has aspirations and dreams, and she has some things that don't always mesh well with what everybody else wants at the time. So conflict is good, but we hope that you'll understand Ava's character a little bit in all this. And while you're doing it, man, you get to go on some kick-ass adventures. Like each one of the missions that we're releasing with this, you get to go to a new map and a new location tucked away on the existing planets. You get to have some great combat encounters, some other new stuff that goes on. I don't want to spoil everything, but on there. So they're full-on adventures in their right, and they all kind of work toward a broader story together. So we think it's going to be a really great. It's kind of a beefy side mission chain, but in a way that hopefully will elevate Ava's character in the overall story of Borderlands. So people who really want to understand, like you specifically, I've seen the question too, is why did everybody give the keys to Sanctuary? Why does Maya trust Ava so much? You know, she kind of got Maya killed from a certain point of view, and she doesn't seem that she's worthy of the mantle of Lilith and Maya and these other great women who have been before her. And we actually skim across that topic, even in the DLC 4 that we did on Season Pass 1 and Psycho Krieg and the fantastic Buster Cluck, which I have to say as many times as I can because it still makes me giggle every time I say that.
Such a great name.
It is.
But that DLC, if players haven't gotten a chance to play it, if you really want to round out that story of Ava and Maya and Krieg, who is one of the characters that people really wanted to, it definitely gets down into Krieg real deep. But it touches on some of the Maya and Ava moments as well. And there's some content in there that helps understand and express what's going on there. So I would definitely say that people who want the full experience, play the DLCs from Season Pass 1, because we heard those questions from players and tried to tuck some of that character building and some of those answers and moments back into there. But we definitely attempted to do more in this director's cut DLC to not only create just a fun story, entertaining experience that feels authentically Borderlands. That's certainly what we try to do every time we make more content here. But Ava, we would love players to come back and give Ava another shot with this fuller experience of her and see what you think. And I'll be ready for honest feedback again in a few months when we read that.
On that note,
why don't you just phone it in once, Gearbox? Make our jobs easy.